Good morning, guys. Thanks for tuning in to another Journey Now video with me this morning. Today, we would like to discuss, we're going to be discussing the topic of human language and word. And we're going to be using this arena of discussion today to really help you guys to understand how important it is as we go around in our own lives to deliberately choose the words that are coming from our mouth. So that is a topic that they are wanting to bring up, and it's one that I myself am quite fond of. So let's get into it. Let's see who's going to come down. I mean, they're already here. Okay, just give me a few seconds here, and I'll ask that we all sit back and take a deep breath in and out through the mouth. And while we do this, bring our awareness to our heart chakra so that we may reside within this space for the duration of this video all together. So I have many masters with me today wishing to speak on this topic of language. And they are wanting us to know that when we are discussing the use of language and how we are going to partake of this verbal communication, as it is a human language, and so it becomes necessary to become involved with the use of these words. So they're saying that when we're talking about language, what we are actually talking about is vibrational frequencies. And they want us to know that language is a very, very powerful tool. They want us to know that language lies within the realms of sacred geometry, light coding, and this is where we really can use our abilities with conscious choice of human language on the earth plane. So they're saying that language really breaks down into the alphabet. Of course, we all know that. But they're saying this isn't where the topic is residing. They're saying that each specific letter itself breaks down to a specific vibrational tone or frequency, and within each letter structure we are really talking about sacred geometry, shapes and patterns that form the sound and the vibrational tone that is intended for each letter itself. And so when we string together these codes and these geometrical patterns into wording, we need to remember how powerful that is. And this is also going to be bringing up residue of alchemy. So when we talk about alchemy, alchemy is a really, they like to refer to it, because us as humans really think of it this way, as magic. And so they're showing me Harry Potter and Harry Potter's wand, and this is where we become masters of alchemy, or we retain our rightful use of wizardry. So this for me is something I really enjoy, because I do like to write. I am a writer, and I have always been very fond of the human language. And they're saying that within that knowledge and awareness of how powerful the use of the language is, they want you to understand that when we become aware of that in particular, we have an opportunity to become masters ourselves within our own spectrums. And so they're telling me that it is extremely important that we put conscious intention into the use of the language. They're telling me that if people would understand this and take a moment before speaking to become fully aware of how these frequencies are going to join together and come out of you. What's really coming out of you is a vibrational tone that is going to come out and resonate in your own field, your own spectrum. But not only that, they're telling me that it is going to affect the other people in your vicinity that are intaking those vibrational frequency tones into their ear canals, into their frontal lobe here of understanding. This is where we see logic and reasoning playing also into the right side, which is where we really become activated within our third eye. And so they want us to play around. This is their challenge. They like to give us little challenges to work with because they're saying that it can be fun. It can become a deliberate way that we can choose to create our own realities. But not only that, we can deliberately choose what we want to send out as well to other people, to the earth atmosphere, and into the collective groupings of consciousness that actually are existing universally. So they're saying that by actually taking the time to deliberately choose our words, we are going to better serve ourselves. And not only that, we are going to serve everyone outside of us as well. And so they're wanting me to bring up for viewers coming in now who are new to this type of discussion, they want me to refer to the law of attraction. They say this is a nice base ground where we can gain concept of what we are applying in our day-to-day living situations, and that really does revolve very, very highly on the use of words. So when we are using words and we're thinking about the law of attraction, they want us to be aware that the simple way to put it is like attracts like. And when they're saying that, they are saying that when we are formatting our speech and presenting it, that is really what we're doing. We're presenting a format of information by use of human language. And so what that looks like is first conceptualizing in here where we get our information. So not only is it important when the information is coming in to focus on it, now it becomes another responsibility that we have. As we become aware and awake, it becomes a responsibility to deliver that in a proper way where we do not play into the collectives of the negative aspects. And so they're really showing me how these collectives reside, and they're showing them to me in dense clusters of color on a scale varying from, and they're saying this isn't only a color spectrum that is going to be what we're looking at when we're talking about language. There is a light spectrum that exists that has a multitude of colors, but for benefit of this video, they'd like us to look at these colors right now as black and grays and whites, just because that becomes easier for the moment. So they're showing me these dense clusters, and you can really look at it. It would be actually handy, they're telling me, if I had a blackboard or a dry erase board to diagram this, but I don't. So these clusters are sitting around, and you can really look at them as collectives of consciousness in which like attracts like. And so when we're talking about the law of attraction, that is really what we're looking at here. So anytime that we use language that resides within a dense cluster or collective, we are simply adding to that. And not only that, we are connecting chords and lines that directly link us and keep us in the dense collectives of attraction. And so it is very simple to switch those chords and remove ourselves from that collective state of density into the lighter ones. And so now they're just showing me a crossover from the black to the white, and we're always trying to move towards the light, trying to put more of ourselves, bringing more of ourselves back to the white, which is our natural state of existence to begin with. And we sit in the light as multidimensional beings. And they want us to know that each word really does have chords that connect it to these dense patterns and collectives. And so our job really becomes to snip all of these chords that are connecting to the dense and darker collective pools. That's what they look like really when they're showing them to me. And so we want to take ourselves from here to here. And these exercises that they're going to be speaking of within this video are really going to help us to do that. And so they want us to know that, as with everything, there are complete opposing factors. There is duality that exists within everything, and that includes language. And that includes the way that we use them. We can say the exact same thing and simply tweak one or two words in the format of the way the information comes out, so that we're avoiding connecting chords and adding to the dense collectives. And now, the more that we do that and assimilate into the lighter spectrums when using our language, the less likely we become to reconnect chords down here. And the easier it becomes to intentionally use the language correctly as far as what we're wanting to pull in via the law of attraction. I hope that, and for me, when I was going into my first steps of my awakening process, what really pulled me up and snapped a light on for me was the secret. And so from that, we look at the law of attraction. And this is where we are wanting our words to bring into our reality more of the things that we desire versus the things we do not wish to have. And they're saying there is a misconception and a confusion based here when people are really trying to manifest and co-create into their own realities, and they're trying to take hold and grasp this knowledge that the secret, the law of attraction, that is in actuality something that we are all capable of. Now, they're telling me that people are struggling at this level. And when you come in and you're at the beginning and you're just dipping your toes in and you're starting to practice these things of manifestational qualities, when we're talking about that, they want to really give some examples. So they want to give an example of wording and how it looks on both ends of the spectrum, and how we can use our words to manipulate ourselves and our realities into the higher vibrational frequencies that are really going to allow us to reach up and pull down the things we want. And they're showing me that so many of us have been left frustrated simply because we are just lacking some information on how to put this practice in our day-to-day use. And so one of the ways is use of language. So they want me to start with this example. So for example, I'm sitting here and I would really like to attract abundance into my life. This is a goal that I have, and now I am aware that this is actually something that I am capable of. And so I decide to start practicing the law of attraction. And the law of attraction and the secret, what all of this really is quantum. It's quantifying sacred geometry. It's quantifying energy, frequency, vibrational tones, patterns, all of those beautiful, wonderful things that literally do make up the universe. This is what makes up who we are. This is what makes up everything. Everything in totality is frequencies, codes, vibrational imprints, blueprints, all of those things that make us who we are, that create our realities, that in fact create star systems, planets, you name it. That's what everything is. So here I am, I want to create abundance. And so I simply start with repeating maybe mantras every day. I'm doing vision boards and I'm putting into these all the things that I want. So now I feel like I am on the right track. I'm about to bring in all this beautiful abundance into my life, and slam. The door closes super fast when I do not receive these things. Then I become agitated, mad, and I give up. And they're saying, don't give up. They're saying there is just a small, they're showing it as very small. There is just a small lack of information, a small spectrum here that we are missing when we are trying to be creators. So they're saying it looks like this. I'm looking for abundance. I'm doing all the right steps. I'm putting my all into it. But they're saying, did you really understand that outside of these exercises and practices that we are undertaking, did we really understand that in a totality or a perspective of looking inwards as we were going through our days, what words were we using for the remainder of the days? And even as we were doing the vision boards, doing these different exercises, what is missing from that equation that is going to allow us to really jump timelines here? Because that's what we do when we manifest and when we pull things into our own reality, is we jump timelines. So they want us to know that one of the largest places where we fail to become co-creators is with the use of a language. So now, as we're moving around in this lack feeling because it hasn't shown up, what we need to understand is that as we went through our day, how many words did we use subconsciously by way of patterning that is at the subconscious level? How many words did we use that went to the opposite spectrum of having that desire? And they're saying that it is subconscious. And so this is where it becomes very difficult and very confusing for people, because they may not even be aware of the fact that they are continually playing into the darker pools with the use of language. And by doing that, there's no possibility of reaching up and plucking down those manifestations because they are coming from the white places, the light places, and none of it is actually existing within the dark pools. And so they're saying simple use of language. So be aware when you're speaking and what it really looks like. And it will feel awkward at first because we don't think before we speak, because we are speaking from an unconscious level. Really take the time. And for a while, it could look like one word, pause, while we really start to think through this. And we will begin to develop a new subconscious patterned way of speaking and using the correct wording and language to place us up here. And that is when miracles happen. That is when manifestation happens. So, for example, I am going to say or be involved with speech. This is where it also becomes multi-leveled when we are interacting with other people who are also delivering word. So also, as well as being conscious of speaking the word, remember that you're hearing it from other people too, and it's your choice to play into that, or you can take the words and you can really juggle them around, and that's going to benefit you as well as the other person because it's going to nudge them on the shoulder into the correct geometrical patterning of the word use and how it can better serve them as well. It's going to trigger an activation within them that's going to want to hopefully play off of the higher use of the wording instead of remaining within the lower uses. So it can look like this. Before I keep dancing all around, let's get an example out here for you guys to really understand. I am looking for abundance. That is my goal. I'm in the vehicle, I'm driving. Say I'm having a conversation with my partner or a friend or somebody that is with me. So my whole intention for the day has been an abundance. And now this person is sitting here, and even if it's a child, say they're like, oh, I want to go to McDonald's and I want a Happy Meal. And you say, no, we can't have that. We don't have money for that today. So if you started out your whole day looking for abundance, you have just fed back into that link to the negative spectrum of lack of simply by telling somebody that was with you that they couldn't have what they were looking for. You have taken that and you have applied it to yourself. So they're saying you could actually say the exact same thing. And so it doesn't look like now you have to say yes to everything. You can never say no again. And now we're in fear constantly. No, they're saying this is where the tweaking of the word system becomes beneficial. You can say the exact same thing, but you can play into this spectrum instead of this, and you can still say no. So what this might look like is, sorry, today we have much better things to do. Today we've packed a lunch and we're going to wherever you're going, and so you can simply explain to them that we have something better planned. And that negates their attention into the lack of and creates a stimuli or an excitement into the light spectrum of, we're going to do something good today. We're going to do something better today. There is no cords coming down into this spectrum. We are now connecting cords into this spectrum. We've said the same thing, but we both feel good and we can move forward. So that is what tweaking words really is about. Take the time to really think, and it might become awkward at first because you might find that you have to take long pauses between your structuring of your words to really figure out, what am I trying to say? what am I wanting, and how am I going to get that up here instead of down here? So this is a goal that we're going to set today. Anyone tuning in, it really is fun. Trust me, it can be very fun because you can begin to play around with how can you say something both ways. And that's what I like to practice. And I do enjoy doing this because you will find that it applies to everything. There is nothing that you can't say this way. There isn't a single topic of conversation that you can find yourself in that you can't do this with. So once you know that, you become extremely capable of practicing the art of manifestation. And so if you're finding yourself in lack of these things that you're trying to pull down, really look at that, because that is probably the largest reason why people are not quite able to become manifestors of their own realities yet. It is simple, conscious delivery of the words themselves. So they'd like to give another example in case you are still uncertain. Let's choose that I am really going to spend my day, my goal, what I am trying to manifest within my life is more love, more light. I don't want to be a lit fuse constantly going off. So I've decided that I am patient, understanding, and I can now deal with the people around me in that manner. Nothing is going to affect me. That is my intention. That is what I would like to manifest for myself. Let's look at ways now in which we can structure conversation throughout the day that might pull us into this place, and instead, let's go up here. So these are the things, these are the goals I'm looking for. I'm looking for better ways to communicate so that I don't become a receiver and a conduit of, they're telling me it's like electric and compulsive explosion of emotion. When I react to things that come up, I want to react in a better way for myself and for the people involved. So here we are, we're hanging out, we are with a group of friends. We're simply enjoying the day, enjoying our social interactions. I have had, say, a tough time the past couple days. Maybe something's come up in my life that I didn't like or has caused pain, anxiety, whatever that might look like for you. You have just went through the experience of something negative. So now we're hanging out, we're with our friends, and we're happy. Suddenly, the conversation turns towards yourself, and someone wants to know what's going on with you and what was that happened yesterday, and they want to bring up that sensitive topic for discussion. So now not only have they brought it up for you to review it, they have also brought it up for the other participants within the conversation to be invited to play within the spectrums of delivering and intaking conversation. Now, as I am a conscious co-creator and I know how to choose my words, I can say, oh, you know, that happened, and I am so glad to be sitting here today, and I am feeling good. I'm really glad you guys are here with me. I'm very appreciative and thankful that today looks much better than yesterday. We do not need to recycle all of that negative emotion, all of those negative uses of language. We do not need to recycle and refeed, reconnect cords back into that spectrum. And by choosing not to put ourselves back here, guess what? We're cutting more cords, and now we're going this way. So it could have went like, oh, I know, I can't believe so-and-so did this to me. And wow, did that really hurt my feelings? We don't need to play there at all. And we have not offended our circle of friends who were looking for gossip. We have simply turned the topic of conversation towards this. Our job is done. We have served ourselves. We have served this white energy mass by connecting cords and feeding energy here. We have removed cords here, and we have made this one smaller. We have served ourselves. We have served the collective. We have also served the people within our space we have been interacting with. Now it becomes a choice on the people around us whether they want to play back into this or take what you just delivered and feed more here. So we can honestly do this all the time, all day long, by simply putting awareness into the framework of the speech itself. So that is a helpful trick for today. That is something that I'm hoping we can all do together, because as we all know, when we work together, we really do serve the collective, and we really do serve the divine wholeness that is all of us connected. And they're showing me this big circle of people holding hands. This is where we become intentional players of the light. This is what our goal is. Let's do this today. Please write in if this was helpful. Let me know what that looked like. Let me know how that went for you. Was this something you were able to do? Where were you finding that it was hard? Please like and subscribe, because of course the more this information is viewed and the more it becomes relatable to mass amounts of consciousness, the more we can help, the more we can bring everyone into this playing field. So please like and share, move the love forward. Namaste, you guys. I love you all. Thank you so much for tuning in. We'll see you next time. Bye.